The 13th floor. The 13th floor.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 13th floor, where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views are amazing. I am your host, Carol, for the week, and we'd like to welcome you back. We've been missing for a couple weeks, but I guarantee you, you will not be disappointed by the fact that we were missing, because we are coming back strong and ready to go.
Yeah.
Let me introduce my folks. Of course, we've got Mike D in the building today. What's going on, Mike?
What it do, Kay? What it do, Kenny? What it do, Art?
Man.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, do you have Showtime?
Actually, no, I don't. I ain't had Showtime.
You don't have Showtime?
No, I ain't had Showtime in a minute since the Tyson fights.
Wow.
Wow, that's a long time. But I'm gonna give you a reason as to why you even want to go to somebody's house that has Showtime, or you want to figure out a way. Wu-Tang has a documentary coming out. It starts this Friday. It's a 4-part series.
Yep.
And you get on YouTube, or you got to get on Showtime?
No, Showtime.
What time Friday?
I don't know. I'll let you know.
Yeah,
look at it. You're thinking of a way now.
If you're lucky, you might get the free weekend they give out every once in a while and it pops up.
You know what? I haven't checked that in a while. I used to check that during the holidays because they do. It's a regular thing. Yeah, I may have to.
Wow.
You may have to call and see. You said 4 weeks.
I don't know if it's gonna be 4 weeks, but it's a 4-part series. So I'll get you all the information so you can figure out, when you could add it, and then go back and tell them, you know what, I don't want it.
Absolutely.
Good.
Absolutely. We'll figure it's probably
nice.
Like $7 a month.
And cut it off right there.
Hilarious. We've got Kenny in the building today.
Yep.
What's going on, sir?
Nothing, man. I'm feeling good. Ready to do the podcast and watch some
basketball. Is that what it is? You're a Golden State fan?
I'd have to say yes to that. Yes, sir.
Okay. How did you become a Golden State fan?
It's a quality team right there. Look at Mike's face.
I'd have to agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quality team. Squad.
Golden State, they've been good for a while. Golden State, even before this little big run, they had good players every once in a while. Mm-hmm. Out of nowhere.
Listen, man, they had probably one of the best never achieved teams ever. Back when they had Chris Mullin, Chris Webber, Tim Hardaway. And who was the other person on the team? There was somebody else.
Mitch Richmond.
Richmond. Yep. And in the end, right when they were about to break up, they had Latrell Sprewell.
Yep.
Yeah. Strong team. Yes, they had a good run. They just never popped it.
Yep. Never came to anything. Well, hopefully Steph doesn't try to dunk tonight. Hopefully he just sticks to shooting.
I hope
he was tired. That was a long game. He was tired.
Yeah, that was bad.
He's only 6'4". Listen, as a 6'4" gentleman, sometimes you got it, sometimes you don't.
But what was worse, Iguodala trying to dunk or Steph missing that dunk?
Steph missing the dunk.
Iguodala should, he's a dunk master.
Yeah, he was trying. He got blocked. That was course of the game.
Heavy.
He's a shot blocker, 2 hands. That's a grown man. Steph got blocked by the rim. That was
that's all right. Facts.
He caused his team to quit. They just were like, you know what? That's
it. We're done.
Wow. Hey, Art, man, go ahead and introduce yourself,
Yes.
man. Let the people know that you're here, man. What's going on?
What's up? Art is here. It's been a minute. I'm always excited to be on the podcast. There's a lot of things, a lot of travel happening and kind of been out of the loop, but I am here. I'm always listening, always involved, but I'm excited because I got to see Crush Groove this weekend, and that was an awesome hour and 30 some odd minutes to watch at my mom's house. So it's pretty cool.
You never saw it before?
No, yeah, I saw it many times.
Oh,
But I haven't seen it in a while, and like it was actually on it was on Stars Black, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Is that Crush Groove?" But as an adult now, you
see,
think
watch it
back and you
differently.
see everything that you missed. So like, I saw David Harrell, I saw like all these characters in the movie. You're like, "Oh, and there was Princess, somebody singing Princess verse, and there's Shirley, and there's so and so, and the Fat Boys, and oh, look at the dude that's LL Cool J. Who is that? He's somebody now." Like, so you get to see all the players that you didn't know as a kid who they were. Like I watched this every weekend when I was at my dad's house, and that was just what I watched. But now looking back, it's just nostalgia. Seeing that was just really cool.
Yep.
See all those people, all those artists on one movie with no acting chops at all, but it's a good movie and people just have fun. And it's cool to see Run cuss. That's always good to hear him cuss because he cussed hard in the movie. He was going nonstop for Run. In case you didn't know, Run DMC was good, but EJ was telling me that she said, I was surprised at how much rap has changed because all the songs in Crush Groove had a message to it. It was all about something. And she's like, yo, it's so weird to see how movie rap back then, like every song was about something. And now it's just nothing, but they actually met. Everything had a reason behind the rhyme. So it was cool to show her that because she hadn't seen it ever. She never seen Crush Groove. So she was watching it, amazed by it.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
kids that had a message. That's the reason why we listen to it. It's the reason why who we are because of hip hop.
Yep. And now they are where they are now because of hip hop. Not in a good way.
Wow. Hey, so fellas, let's not move too far. Let's go to playoff basketball. So
The Miami Heat.
Hey, listen, man, don't do that, man.
I'm a Heat fan. Listen, I'm from Philly, but I am a Heat fan. I dropped the Sixers when he dropped Allen Iverson, so that's when he lost me.
Yeah, the Heat is my team too, and man, hopefully Pat has something up his sleeve, because we definitely got to get reloaded.
Big time.
Right now, we got issues. I mean, we got a team with just phenomenal work ethic, but
that's it. Golden State of past years, right? Golden State again.
His work ethic up to a certain level is only taking them so far. They need some more talent.
Yeah.
But yeah. So who are we pulling for, man? Who's everybody pulling for? Obviously, Kenny's pulling for Golden State.
1,000,000%. Yep.
I'm gonna go State to win. I want them to be a dynasty. I want them to take over. I want to see it in my lifetime. Like everyone had the Jordan in their lifetime and that whole thing. Like I was too young to enjoy it and really see it. I look for it, and they're a good team. Like it's not the Patriots. These are good guys who just really like enjoy the game and just outside the court, they're good people.
Yep. Well said.
Come on, Mike. What you sitting on, Mike?
As long as it's not Houston, I'm good. Anybody else is fine.
Yeah, I need you to grab that microphone, man, because you got a message right now that's like old school rap. It's non-existent.
Oh, I said as long as it's not Houston, that's fine. I can't do Houston. Yeah, but everybody else is good. It's just the whole like the James Harden, the greatest thing. The dude travels. The whole falling down with the fouls, like it's
Chris Paul.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take it back to park basketball. You can't do none of that stuff in the park. Don't do it on the court where you're getting paid for it, and that would cause some altercations at the
There's a
end of
difference,
the
though, Mike. There's a difference, though, Mike. These people have careers. They're trying to last for a long time in the park. You're not worried about that.
I mean, it's the same thing. Like, imagine you show up at your career and somebody like half in it. Like, I mean, they fake it out of meetings. They're not going to.
It happens. Trust
but
me.
that's already that happens, though.
Right. We don't like those people. We don't want those people to progress and become our bosses. We want them fired. So get these dudes out of here.
That happens, man. Yeah, I'm sick. I can't make it.
I would absolutely say Golden State if Boogie was still playing. But
so who you pulling for?
Golden State. There's nobody else that could beat them. I mean, Milwaukee can't beat them. Toronto can't beat them. Boston may not even get out of this series. So it'll be interesting.
I don't know, man.
Boston just lost.
Do they have anybody?
No.
Do they have anybody that can stop the Greek Freak? I don't think they do.
Who? Golden State?
Yeah.
Yeah, they got time. I mean, you figure like all them dudes over the 7 games, one person ain't gonna beat all of them. Like,
That's why.
Right?
That's why I like Golden State. They play a unit.
Yeah, it's true.
They execute. It's great.
Wow. So listen, so this is the point where we're going to give you a disclaimer. We're going to talk about Endgame.
Spoilers.
What'd you say, sir?
Spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's not necessarily a spoiler alert because everybody's been watching Endgame their whole life, right? So somebody mentioned Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan had an Endgame, and that's why he was so great. People that you see out there that are successful, you know, the Oprahs of the world, they have an end game, and that's why they're so successful. Like no matter what the obstacles are, they still continue to achieve. So you guys know me. I don't go watch movies just for the entertainment factor. I try to pull some type of message out of it. And it's just a very emotional roller coaster of a movie because there's times where it makes you laugh. There's times where you know, you get angry, and there's times where you just about want to break down and cry. And there's actually people that you actually see them crying in the movie theater. It's hilarious. But really and truly, I wanted to get you all's take on Endgame. And when you hear the word Endgame, what does that mean to you?
I'll start it off. So I think that when I hear Endgame, you know, just in life, it's that focus of like where I'm doing right now. What is what I'm doing right now? How is this factoring to the end? How am I getting to that last dot? What's the path I'm taking? And every road that I diverge on and go left or right has to equal back to the end of that end game, like a puzzle or like a maze or anything else. Like your goal is to get back to that end. So no matter how I get there, I got to keep focusing on the end game. And there's many obstacles, many diversions, many things that change your path. But at the end of the day, you always circle back to, okay, how is this going to help me get to where I want to be? For me, it's you know, getting the houses and financially being taking care of my family. I hate to use the word financially free because you're never financially free much as you do that, because as you continue to get more money and more wealth, you make more obligations. So I want to be comfortable in the ability to take care of my family, take care of my family's family and build generational wealth with the family. So, you know, I've had the roadblocks where I had a house in line. I was ready to buy that house. And then, you know, can't do that now because you need to have this much funds in your account for 2 months at a time. Well, I have the funds now. Why does it matter? Well, you know, because you want to go through this process, you got to take this step. All right, now, so boom, now I'm diverged. So now I'm on the same path to get into a house. It may not be the house I was going to get to, but I still know I need 7 doors to make this goal accomplished. So I have to take a different way to get to my end game. And I took my snap, right? My snap just happened. That was 2 months ago. They were a month and a half ago. I had it ready to go, money ready to go. The army was ready, and I just lost. And that was cool. I lost. I took a step back, took some time. My little months have passed now. I'm learning, and now I'm ready to go forward to take on that battle. And I'm getting there now. So, Endgame for me is all about focusing and just seeing the end of that tunnel. No matter how dark it gets, it's always light there. You got to focus on that light. No matter how you get around it, it's always there. So focus yourself on that.
So I want to push you a little bit and clarify that for people, right? Because your end game is not the houses. Your end game is not investing. What you just said was your end game is generational wealth for your family.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And that's the thing that's going to make you keep going and want to overcome. And I think that's the key message in the movie that I don't think a lot of people are going to lock onto. They're going to lock onto, oh, the superheroes and these people did this and these people did that. But the real thing is that they had that goal in mind. What is it that we ultimately wanted to achieve? And they were able to overcome many obstacles and the snap, right? So many people have a snap that happens in their life every day where you have a dream, you have a goal, and something that unforeseen happens, and that's your snap, and they never bounce back from that, right? So Mike and Kenny, I give you guys a shot now, man. Like, what is your end game? What is it that you're looking to accomplish before your time has passed?
So I'll say for me, so it actually, you just kind of said what to me the end game means. That's why I like it when we were talking about this earlier. I thought about it, like the end game is, to me, is death. That's the end game, and I'll tell you why. Because I remember when I was in graduate school, I learned the term it's called personal mastery, and the concept of personal mastery is constantly improving yourself over and over in time. There really is no end, because when you reach the end, there's a new level to get to and a new level to get to, and you're constantly improving yourself until the end, which is death. So to me, that's the end game, and I think I could even tie it into what was just said, and that that I do also work towards those things, towards helping my family and achieving that wealth and generational wealth. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm a family guy to the very end, and I just want to make sure my family, immediate and expanded, is happy and successful. And I just try to do my best to do that. I know we're gonna have the roadblocks and the bumps and everything. I've gone through all that stuff, still going through that stuff, still plan to go through all that stuff. But I also see, what am I gonna pull towards to get me past a lot of stuff. So, Carol, I started exercising and stuff. That's something that helps me keep going, and it's kind of gets your mind where it takes you to, I know I achieved something here in this place, but now I need to achieve this next level, and I appreciate that achievement. And I try to also make sure I reflect on all those things that I've done, that I've worked for and gotten. It's like, okay, that's fantastic. I've gotten that. Now what's next? Now what's the next thing? And I just keep thinking of it that way. When I learned that term, I just really embraced it. And it kind of, that might have been one of my snaps, where I kind of switched my thinking from saying, I got to work towards this and get this one specific thing. And once I get that, that's me achieving what I need to. That would be what I guess we would have termed my end game. But then when I learned that term, I started reading other things that showed me that's like, you're always doing something to improve yourself and live and go on until that time comes where it's the end.
Yeah, it's concepts are similar in terms of just self improvement.
Let's get that mic. Let's get that mic, Mike.
Concepts are the same in terms of self improvement, but also the same in terms of the concept of death, because the end game is something for me that goes beyond kind of I guess you would say, your life here on earth, but more beyond my existence. And what am I leaving that's going to make the world better after I'm gone? Both in my family, so the culture that I set for the kids and kind of things and traditions that are instilled in them as they grow, but also what legacy is left in terms of the improvement in the community, those that I've come in contact with, like what will be said about me once I am gone. And continually trying to improve upon that to make it have the greatest impact worldwide, universe wide, to where it continues to develop even 4 years after. I mean, you think of just historical figures, mantras, wisdoms from people that have come, that have carried on through things and that we have learned as life has gone from early within 1900 to way back to ages and things that go far back way into our existence. So just being that type of a presence is what I try to be, taking it day by day, getting to that point, but ultimately knowing that every day is small and minute compared to how long everyone and things and thoughts have been in existence. So just trying to be a contributor and live in the rhythm of the universe. That's it. When you do that, it's positive things to happen.
So, and it's funny that you guys mentioned death, right? Because look, that's something that happens in the movie, right? And as I said, we won't give away too many spoilers, but death happens in the movie, and it's interesting because the key people that end up dying, they died in their purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Their time had come to where they had to make that ultimate sacrifice, but it was in their purpose and who they were and what they were contributing to overall humanity. So it's funny that you mentioned that, Kenny, because you said you're always going to continue to improve and build yourself until that day comes. And you're building and improving yourself with a purpose because you're doing things along the way. And then once you have fulfilled that purpose, it's almost like, okay, it's time for you to, you've mastered this, right?
Yep.
You brought up mastery.
Yep.
You've mastered this. Now it's time for me to take you to the next thing.
Yes.
And as you all know, we never really get like religious on here or whatever, but we do hit these spiritual pockets where we talk about the universe and a higher being. And it's almost like for every person, there is something that you're supposed to do, and that is your end game.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And when you've been put here and you wasted, those are the people that would say, oh, they died too young. You know, they went too young. And some of them served a purpose. And then some of them were just like, look, I gave you this talent. You're not doing anything with it. You just messing around. Come on back. Let's restart. Let's reset.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the part where people really you do have to come up with that end game, because you do need something that's going to pull you and drag you towards your purpose. And again, just help you overcome the things that some people just sit down for and just decide, well, I'm going to take a loss, and I've lost in this life.
And I think for some, they diminish their gift or they diminish their purpose by thinking that it's not important because they're comparing it to somebody else's gift or their talent.
Mm-hmm.
Not to realize that you just need to be great in what you do, and that is equal to that person because they have some deficiencies where you may have strengths. So together we kind of all fit within this puzzle. So be great in who you are. It's all right.
Right. I also live by that same mantra. I was also at a point where there was times I was like comparing myself, like, can I do stuff like this person, whatever. And then I asked myself, why? Why am I doing that? Because each person, like you said, like has their own path that they're walking. They have their negatives, their positives, but when it comes down to it, everybody has their negatives and positives. I even teach my kids. I say, you know what? I say, don't ever try to compare yourself to anybody or live the life of someone else, because there's always going to be somebody that's worse off than you, and there's always somebody that's better than you. So just live for you. And I guess it kind of ties into what you're saying, Carol, about the whole end game thing. Like, live for your purpose. What is your purpose? What is your meaning? I could even tie it, and I'll even share, I lost my grandfather this Easter. And during the eulogy, my sister read a eulogy and she just made up, and it was fantastic. And the theme was legacies, which is kind of fascinating that we're tying it into, we're having this conversation. And, her eulogy was about the fact that my grandfather left several legacies. He left the legacy of happiness. He left the legacy of love. He left the legacy of family. These are things. And as she spoke on each of those legacies that he left, she gave examples that everybody in the room could relate to. This one man, and I mean, this was people people came from Thailand, from Guyana, from Canada, all these Guyanese people, like everybody just came from all over the place to see this man, and everybody could tell a story about him and his legacies that people were like, I know that about him. I remember that about him. So to me, having this conversation right now is actually, it's kind of like, it brings it all home when you think about it. And in his passing, I remember I sat there and at the casket and I talked to him, and I was saying to myself, like, I after the eulogy, I want to be able to have a legacy like my grandfather. I want, like, Mike, like you said, like in the end and beyond, what are people going to say about you? What are people going to do? I mean, I could go to all these people that were there, and I could sit and have a conversation with someone a lot older than me to people younger than me. And if they experienced my grandfather, they understand that legacy. So his end game was to affect all these people, but he didn't do it. He didn't do it so directly where he was like, I have to do it because then people will think I'm important and love me and show me. He just did it through all his actions and the way he lived and the way that he was disciplined and had morals and everything. So his end game, that's maybe, Carol, that's why I come from the place of the end game to me is death. Because as my grandfather also, till his last breath, I mean, he was alive Easter morning, and by the afternoon he was gone. And the people in the nursing home that saw him, they came to the room and they came to see him. And we're all in the room and they're like, oh, where is he? We want to say hi, whatever. I was just speaking to him this morning. And to say, and he passed, people are like, what? This man. And I'm telling you, my grandfather might have been in that home maybe a week. He was at home. So to leave the impression that he did on these new people that would probably, if they sat in his funeral, would have been able to relate to all the stories that we told him and all the things. So that to me that's why I say it's a legacy. And he was constantly just doing stuff and living his life. And his end game was obviously his passing, but he lives on through all these other people. And it was amazing to see that and to hear the stories. And I was like, I never even met this person. They're telling a story about a guy that I know in my heart and I grew up with. So, you know what I mean? So it's just a beautiful thing. So back to the topic, you know, having your end game, I'm like laser focused on doing everything in my power to leave great legacies so that when that physical end game comes, it's not the end game. It's more mastery and it just lives on and it's a new growth of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. It's deep.
All right, guys, let's end the podcast. You can go ahead. Jump on now.
Right. Sorry. You can get us on Google Play and iTunes. No, man, that was powerful, man. Definitely thank you for sharing that, man. I know that's still fresh. So, you know, absolutely, you know, thank you for opening up and sharing that. And ladies and gentlemen, now you see why we went and got him and gave him a elevator key to get to the 13th floor.
Mm-hmm.
But I, you know, we need to get better at giving people actionable items, right? And I think one of the big themes here was doing for others, whether that be your family or just people, just humanity. That's a big theme here is doing for others, but doing for others once you have maximized the best version of you. Right. You have to master that first because that is the first key to your end game is mastering yourself. And in mastering yourself, if you can contribute to others, then you've now just amped up your ability to get to the end game and accomplish it. So that's just huge. And, you know, definitely thank you fellas for sharing that and working through that. And again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not seen Endgame, or look, any movie, I don't care what it is. It could be playoff basketball. Look, whoever wins the championship, it's going to be because their end game was at a certain level, right? Look, whoever your idol is, whoever your mentor is, that person you say, man, I want to be like them. Well, that's the first mistake. Stop trying to be like them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Be the best version of you. And realize that person had an end game. And if they would have tried to get to it being someone else, it wouldn't have worked out. Right. So, let me save some stuff for when I got to close this out because I'm giving so much away right now.
I would say it's a daily thing. It's not like you just end up being the NBA Finals MVP. You know, that started at age 9 in the winter, dribbling in the cold up and down the street to age 16, sometimes doing certain things. Like there's a constant thing that you have to do every day with the faith and the trust that I am doing this to get to that point and having the faith that you will eventually get there. And I think that's what all the emotion is. I mean, you talked about like the NBA playoffs, but you think recently about the NFL draft and kind of all of these things that are going on just within athletics, even academics being at the end of the school year and people graduate and all that, like things are coming to a point where things blossom. Even in nature, it gets to a point where things are seed, they grow, they blossom, they continue to grow. And it's kind of that cycle. We all go through that as humans. So just constantly, every day, you have to do something. Every minute, where are you going to get you towards your goal, towards your vision, towards your end game?
You know what's interesting about that is it's funny. I talk for myself, but in my career, you know, as a career advisor, that's really what I do. So in the college, it's because graduation is coming up. It's Friday, and the questions that I'm having with a lot of my students, and I guess it's, you know, in some way saying, "What's your end game?" I'm like, so. What are you going to do? What are you trying to do? You know? So, and a lot of them don't even know what they want to do with themselves or what their end game is. So it's funny to hear, like, having this conversation, but I'm like, I think on such like a different like level for myself, but what I'm teaching my students and my grads, like what is their ultimate end game?
Yeah, and think about it. If somebody would have came to us when we were in college and asked us what our end game was, right? Would we have lined up things a little bit differently? Like, look, granted, Kenny still wants to meet his wife and marry his wife and have his kids. Same thing for all of us, right? But as Art said, there are many different roads that you could create to end up at the same point. So whether you might have met them, maybe a couple months later or whatever it is, but why aren't the youth being taught this type of thinking of what is that end game? What is that thing that only you can do, that you're going to master and that you're going to push out into the world?
Yeah, that's a whole nother 45 minutes, 45 episodes that could go down that road. Because I think it comes back to even you hear questions of like, whose responsibility is that? Is that the parent? Is that the community? Is that the education system? Like, where do they get that? Is that your spiritual home, be it church? Like, is that
And the answer is yes to all of that.
right? But then it becomes exposure to who has all of those, and then you kind of get to the whole youth development, like the touches of adults and the more positive engagements that they have with people, or where they get those type of challenges and interactions. And if you just depending on one person to give you all of that, it doesn't necessarily come. But they absolutely need it. Critical thinking, being able to kind of figure things out in terms of who you are and what you want to become and how you want to grow. That's something that we're taking on kind of as parents, but everybody doesn't have that perception as mom and dad with their kids. So that's kind of leaves it on somebody else to pick up that slack. And if you're not having a conversation with youth, you don't know they don't know it. So they get it from somewhere. So like we talked about the music, we got it sometimes from the music. So KRS-One, Rakim, Carol was talking about Wu-Tang. A lot of that force you to think about what you're doing. Even the DMX song for his album. I would say, I know you pops, you little knucklehead. You need to go to the mosque or something. Like that whole part of that. Guys was like, what? And it started us to think, but it came from the music. So it's got to come from somewhere.
Wow.
Yeah. Look, it goes back to community, right? And community is not just people. It's the community of things that you put around yourself, right, for development. And it's a matter of placement. So, yeah, you're right. We go another 45 minutes, but we're not going to do that. We're going to save it for another episode. But ladies and gentlemen, before I move to Art's Corner, I do want to remind you, you can listen to us on Google Play, iTunes, SoundCloud, Vimeo, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. You can find us on the 13th floor, please, on most of those platforms. And we would love to hear what is your end game? We would love for you to share your thoughts on the end game and what that means to you. And the only way for you to do that is to either leave us a comment on one of those pages or on one of the platforms. Definitely leave reviews if you get a chance, and we'd love to hear from you. Moving to Art's Corner, sir, what do you got for the people today?
I think I'm going to pull out an oldie but goodie, but give it a twist to it. So, and this is just from personal lessons over these last couple of months or so, and just seeing things. So being ordinary is easy. Being successful is a challenge. And if you're happy with being ordinary, then you need someone around you to push you, because the things you're going to run into and things you see around you and what fear people have from doing something different can cause you to accept that ordinary life. You got to push yourself and say, this is not what I want. I want better. And not that I'm going to leave them behind me, but how can I let them see that better is an opportunity we can all get, and I'll be that star, or I'll be that light to show them the opportunity is parable. Opportunity is there to grab for everyone.
Nice. Man. See what happens when we take a couple weeks off, ladies and gentlemen. We come back and just hit you with just bombs. I mean, there's so many nuggets in this episode that people can hold on to and plant a seed and grow something. Man, good episode, fellas. Loved it. I can't wait to hear what the response is. I'll go ahead and close us out, man. Look, ladies and gentlemen, in the movie, right, there comes a point. Actually, it wasn't in this one. It was Infinity Wars, where Doctor Strange tells Iron Man that we're in the end game now. And for many of you out there, you show your ability when we get to a point of crisis. But your end game started the day that you were born. You were in crisis the day that you were born, and you should be taking steps towards your earliest real. Stop waiting for someone else to come along and give you that push, or someone else to give you the opportunity. Go out there and claim the opportunity for yourself, establish your end game, and do something every day to work towards it. Be the best version of you and do what you can for others until that day comes where you know the game has ended. Peace out from the 13th floor, ladies and gentlemen, where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views are amazing, and we'll see you.
Yeah. Wow.
The 13th floor.
Yep.
So he.
Wait, what?
Buffalo Braves.
The 13th
I wouldn't mind
floor.
the Sixers going to the next round. They probably won't, but.